Okay,
Zero,
fine.
you have to press. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we're here.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Hi,
Let's
everyone.
go.
Hi,
Ah,
Minnie.
fuck! I just got an ad on the stupid video right when I hit live. So embarrassing.
Like on your channel?
Yeah, not on my channel. On the video of the Matrix that we've got. That just like boom advertisement. It's been like 30 minutes, and now, ah,
For shame.
embarrassing, tragic, cringe. That's all I got to say.
I wish I could help you.
There's no cure for cringe. It's terminal.
Ads are forever. Can't escape them.
In this capitalist hellscape that we live in, yes, sir. But you know what else is a capitalist hellscape? The world of Neuromancer. Oh!
Ah!
Did you see that segue? Did you see that segue?
Segway,
It's almost like
segway.
let's go!
Let's go.
Oh. So tell us, what are we doing today, Zol?
We'll,
Tell the masses.
we'll be talking about. Where's my notes?
I mean, the title of the book is right behind you.
William Gibson's Neuromancer,
Woo! Let's go!
written in 1984.
Yeah.
Pretty old book.
Yeah, no, this book is older than probably most everyone in the chat.
And
Let's be real.
I think I remember like talking to you like, oh, we should read Neuromancer and then
Do Android's Dream of Electric
yeah,
Sheep. Correct.
because-
we did.
because before going into both of them, we both knew that everyone's saying that Neuromancer was like the grandfather of the genre, right?
Yeah.
But
I think we've since learned that no, it's actually the opposite. Android's Dream of Electric Sheep came first.
did it?
Neuromancer came, yeah, because Androids came out in 1968, and then Neuromancer came out in 84. So they're like 20 years apart. And this is actually really interesting. So guys,
Ah,
this is why I said we're starting this with the historical primer on Neuromancer. So, ladies and gentlemen, last we left off, we were talking about Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? An alternative title, which you may know it as Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Now, we know the movie Blade Runner is something that a lot of people would describe as very visually cyberpunk, and this is true. Blade Runner came out, I think, in like the movie. Ridley something was the producer, director of the movie or something. That movie came out in like a year or two before Neuromancer the book was published, but it was not quite yet something that is considered to be cyberpunk. The first true definition of what people consider to be the cyberpunk genre comes with Neuromancer, because Neuromancer sort of solidifies all of these
Tropes.
cyberpunk tropes, themes, archetypes. You know, it has this like grungy aesthetic of like the scrappy hacker man, the scrappy super hacker in these like neon lit cities. It's got these like, you know, these assassins for hires and drugs and all sorts of crazy things going on inside of it. Whereas if you compare it to Blade Runner movie, they had the visual aesthetic of the city down for sure. But Deckard is not what one would consider to be like a cyberpunk protagonist. He's
Yeah.
more akin to I saw a bunch of people
He's like a
describe
cowboy.
to Android. Kind of, yeah. Similar but different. The way I would describe him is as a detective. A neo... I think the word I saw is like a neo-noir detective.
Yeah.
So so that's the term that I heard most applied to like the Blade Runner movie, as well as like the Blade Runner, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Those kind of fell in like a more like neo-noir energy. And if you want to go like even deeper, we can see there was like, I think I mentioned this when we were talking about androids. The new wave of science fiction, that like era of science fiction in like the 60s and 70s, Androids falls under that category of like new wave science fiction. It is the counterculture of the previous years of science fiction, where it was all about traveling to distant galaxies, as well as time travel, crazy space travel, all of this like grandioseness that existed in the science fiction genre at the time. And then new wave science fiction kind of like brought it back down to earth a little bit. They started to kind of like pull it back, started to get a little like experimental with it. And this is where you see like these like science fiction publication magazines where they'll like publish a bunch of short stories, which were really like a massive way that the concept of like science fiction, the new wave science fiction were really like propagated during the like 70s and 80s, were like through these magazines. And that's where all this experimentation happened, and those are kind of like where we see androids kind of coming out from. This is where we see a lot of Ursula K. Le Guin's stuff with like the left hand of darkness. Those are like books obviously, but like they also wrote, I think, what's the word? Short stories for these magazines, I think.
Like one shots?
And if not, they were like one shots. And if not, this part I didn't research as heavily. They definitely were inspired by or inspired some of these. The point is, it is the new wave of science fiction, these guys with really experimental concepts on what is sci-fi, that inspired people like William Gibson, our boy today. And that's what kind of like established the foundation of cyberpunk, where Gibson solidified it. He kind of really like brought it to its own with Neuromancer.
Okay, I looked up the dates because you mentioned it. Blade Runner came out 1982.
Yeah, 1982. That's what I said.
Neuromancer came out 1984.
84.
Yeah,
and that was actually a huge deal for Gibson, because he said in an interview that, all right, so when Gibson started to write Neuromancer, this is like his debut novel. He had never written a novel before, but he had written a bunch of short stories for magazines. I think, God, what was the name of one of the really popular ones that he wrote before Neuromancer? It was like Johnny Mnemonic. He wrote a short story called Johnny Mnemonic that was really popular, and that one was also really like proto-cyberpunk. But he was approached by this guy called Terry Carr, C-A-R-R, and he was, I think, like the owner or the publisher for Omni, which is a sci-fi magazine at the time. And, you know, Terry comes over to like William, and he's like, yo, hey, why don't you like write a novel? I think you could do it. And I think he like commissioned him. He like gave William Gibson money and said, write a novel. And William Gibson's like, okay. And so during like the 1980s, he was working on this little something called Neuromancer. And he's like, yeah, it's really good. I'm going to publish it. And then boom, 1982, Blade Runner comes out, and he's like, oh fuck, everyone's going to think that I copied off Blade Runner. No, I don't want them to think that. And then he like rewrote it. God, he wrote it like a bunch of times. I think I read somewhere that he wrote it like anywhere between like 4 times to 12 times. I saw like a bunch of numbers thrown out there. But he like rewrote it a lot, and that was like a really like and that was like a heavy thing in his heart, that he was like, God, I hope people don't think I'm just ripping off. Yeah. But, you know, as time different. Would have it, they're very different. And the people understood. The people like totally got that Blade Runner movie, Neuromancer book, and even Android's book, all were like really different, though they had some very similar energy. Point in case, the visuals of this city, a post-World War world, because I believe in Androids, the last war was World War Terminus, and that's kind of why the world is so messed up in that book. Whereas in Neuromancer, they say there was a world war. They don't really say what it was called, I think, but it might have also been a World War Terminus. I don't really know. Now I'm not sure where that term is from, which one of the 2 books it's come from. But yeah, Gibson wrote this because he was commissioned to, and now it's like, man invented a genre of science fiction because his buddy was like, hey, I'll pay you to write a book.
Imagine you're like your art friend, your art friend that just doodles, or like, hey, you're really good. I'll commission you for art. Then you post it and they blow up.
Yeah, and that's like, you know, for real. They go from like 2K followers on Twitter to like 2 million followers on Twitter from the thing you asked them to draw. Damn. I'm sure Terry was like, I made that happen.
Yeah, no.
I'm surprised.
I can't.
It's wild. But I thought. I saw that somewhere, and I was like, that's hilarious. And let's see, what are some other fun facts that I had that I thought were interesting? All right, 2 more. and then we can actually talk about the book proper. So it actually won a bunch of awards, and most notably, it won like the trifecta of like science fiction's awards. So these are the creme de la creme, and they are the Nebula Award, the Hugo Award, and funnily enough, the Philip K. Dick Award. So my boy was like, oh shit, I hope they don't think I copied off Philip K. Dick's work. And they're like, here you go, the Philip K. Dick Award. You deserve it, Chief. I'm like, that's such a huge W. That's so funny. And the other fun fact that I have here written down is, you know how the book ends, right?
Yes.
Which, spoilers for the chat. We're going to be talking about the book, and we're going to be spoiling the heck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So be warned. But when the book ends, it's like a pretty finite ending. You know, Molly leaves, Case is free to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, it's overall a happy ending.
It's a happy ending?
I mean,
certainly an ending.
It's an ending, but it's not a
It's not
bad.
an ending.
It's not
It's
a
not
bad
an ending.
Yeah.
There's
It's an ending for
two
the book.
more. There's two more. It's a whole trilogy. So when Gibson originally wrote this, he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna end, and this is the end." And I didn't find.
What?
I didn't spend time researching this because I like focused on other things
I
during
didn't
my
know that.
investigation.
I feel like it would be
There's
a big
whole
deal, right?
Sprawl. I would have thought so as well, but apparently there's this thing called the Sprawl trilogy. So, and it follows, I assume, Case. I didn't even look up to it. I think one of the books, I think the third one is called something Mona Lisa. Hold on. Sprawl trilogy box set. Yeah, let's pull it up. Oh, it's 4 books. What do you mean it's a trilogy with 4 books? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a quad.
Mona Lisa Overdrive. Yeah, it's Neuromancer, Count Zero, Mona Lisa Overdrive, which honestly, I kind of want to read that. That's a great
Not gonna
title.
lie, that
And
sounds like a JoJo move.
Oh my god,
Mona
you're
Lisa
so right.
Overdrive.
You are so right. Mona Lisa Overdrive. Oh my god, you're so right. That's so true. Oh my god, yes. I'm a fan. So yeah, and Burning Chrome is the apparent 4th one. It said everywhere I looked, it was the Sprawl trilogy. So maybe Neuromancer is like a standalone and then there's like a trilogy after it. I don't know.
Neuromancer's the prologue.
Maybe. I really, this is one part that I
Book
didn't
0.
dig too deeply. Yeah, maybe. But I just found it really funny because I always heard of Neuromancer as like this standalone book. It's like its own thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you create a genre, you kind of stand on top of that lonely mountain all by yourself. But it seems like now William Gibson was like, I bet. You want more sprawl? I got more sprawl for you. You want hackers? I got hackers. You want sweet titles? Mona Lisa Overdrive.
Not gonna
It's
lie,
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm not excited. Like when you told me there's more, I didn't get excited.
Honestly, I
like Electric Sheep better than Neuromancer.
did you?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But-
All right, so you know what? I want to know. I really want to know.
I feel like
You gotta tell me why.
I feel like the story is more compelling for Electric Sheep because of all the moral ambiguity. But I will give Neuromancer this though. Like Case is more of an actual cyberpunk protagonist. Like you pointed out earlier, Deckard's like this noir detective.
Yeah.
Case is actually a cyberpunk protagonist.
Man is a cyberpunk.
Like the way he like jacks in the
when he
Matrix.
jacks into the Matrix
And then,
with his
like-
deck. Let's go.
And it's akin to like surfing the internet, but it's more than that because it's very
Yes!
dangerous. Like there are
Oh my
multiple
God.
instances where when he jacks in, he
straight up
flatlines. His electrodes like the
Dude,
skin, like fries.
It's-
Like he cooks.
yes.
He cooks. I'm like holy shit.
No, 100%.
Mm-mm.
Because it's like you said, you know, Deckard and Case, 2 very different protagonists. It would
Yeah.
really be unfair to both of them to kind of pit them against each other in that sense.
Mm-mm-mm.
But Case's life is definitely one of more, I feel, inherent danger. Because with Deckard, you felt like he was
I mean-
an extremely capable individual. Case
Yeah.
is a drug addict. He's a junkie who's like fucked up. This man probably couldn't throw a good punch to save his life. And
Mm-mm.
and we see this throughout the book because he's not the muscle. He's the guy in the chair.
Yeah,
Ollie
yeah.
is the muscle.
But at
And
the
so
same
it's
time, even though he's the guy in the chair, he faces like real, actual danger. Like,
so much.
don't get me wrong, Deckard like has a lot of like danger in his hands, but it's
Mhm.
like he could do it. Like we know he's a
Mm-mm.
seasoned professional.
Yeah, we know he's a seasoned professional.
Meanwhile,
Cases.
Case is also a professional, but it takes like a snap of a finger for another hacker to like. It's so
He's
easy.
like
Like
he's like a
it's just skill
glass
issue, you
cannon.
know.
Yeah, I want to say if we put it in like D&D classes, I want to say Deckard is like a high-level paladin where Case is a thief, a rogue class. And this is like something that they say
Yeah,
early on in the book where he is a thief
he's a thief for richer thieves.
above all else. Exactly.
Mhm.
He's a thief for richer thieves who steals back and forth from people. That's his thing. You don't really need muscle for that. You just need to be super smart, super clever, which Case does prove himself to be. After all,
Until
he is
he stole from his
Yeah.
employer.
Yeah, oh my, what a dumb motherfucker. He says it himself. I broke my one rule. And I'm like, motherfucker, you broke your one rule.
He got cocky.
He got cocky. He straight up did. But the thing is, Case as a character, and we see this like in his like numerous
He's a
reactions
junkie
and
through
addiction.
and through.
He's a junkie through
And
and through.
I
He's
think the
addicted to the adrenaline. He's
Adrenaline.
addicted
That's
to
the
the
number
drugs.
one addiction. That's why he went for it. Because like the
He
high
totally
of
went.
like
Yeah,
stealing
no.
from employer. That's
He was
probably it. Even though it was
absolutely- no.
dumb,
100%.
He
See,
knew.
the thing is, he knew that he was gonna get fucked by this decision, and he still went for it. And I think another reason why he went for it was obviously like the adrenaline high, the I'm a god amongst men probably kind of energy.
Yeah.
But there was also like one thing that he really is above all else is that he's selfish. He's greedy. He has this immeasurable level of like this. I am number one, and I will care for only myself. And this is really like a mindset that permeates a lot of like cyberpunk literature, stories, movies, where every character in this shitty dystopic hell world is looking out for themselves. I'm looking out for number one, baby. And they kind of have to in this cutthroat society, in this, God, what was it? This fucked up Darwinist society that they got, where everyone must survive by their own volition or die trying. And it's like, whoa. And so that's kind of like the environment that Case finds himself in. It's kind of like a staple of the cyberpunk genre, the shitty city, the shitty lifestyle, the I don't know how to get out of my bad situation, how am I gonna get out? And that's the like classic like cyberpunk struggle. Maybe you get out, maybe you don't. Most of the times you really don't. It's pretty bad.
And if we draw more comparison, Neuromancer is more cyberpunk than Electric Sheep because, like, if you look at the muscle, like Deckard, he's a guy. But even when he's like fighting androids, it's a bunch of fist fighting and guns and laser guns. Meanwhile, you look at fucking Molly, scalpels.
Kicking ass and dude.
Scalpels
yeah.
come out of her fingertips. Her glasses are like implanted on her eyes. I'm like,
Yes!
bro, Molly's actually my favorite character. I love her.
Molly is so cool. It's like we can't compare too much Deckard with Case because he's not cyberpunk. Deckard's not cyberpunk. He's like noir. He's a detective.
Yeah.
He's got guns. He's very like down to earth in that sense, despite being in a futuristic setting. Whereas in Neuromancer, and this is like a theme that permeates through the whole like book, and it is a theme throughout cyberpunk as well. It's that idea of how technology invades your day-to-day life as a human, and how you add onto it. There's a fucking cockroach on the ceiling.
Do you want to go deal with that really quick?
Hold on, yeah, give me a second. I think there's a shoe right near here.
Get the La Chancla.
Getting La Chancla, baby! BRB!
Come on, not 20.
About to murder something. Oh, where's my chancla? I can't lose visual on it. It'll go away forever.
We can't focus on the book if there's like
Yeah.
a cockroach hovering over you. Bro, no. I don't know what's with like
baseball bat
cockroaches because they do that a lot. I hear Bells like screaming. I wonder if it flew. But yeah, cockroaches do that a lot. They go to a place where they know you clearly see them and you're like why why does this bug have such huge balls? You know, like I could step on you, then they fly. Ah! Gambate Mels.
Okay, I'm back.
Is it dead?
It's dead.
I heard you
It's dead.
scream. I was like, did,
Yeah.
did it fly?
No, okay. I don't think it was a cockroach. It looked different. It deserved to die still. Anyways, I don't
Yeah.
trust it.
Yeah.
Like in the cyberpunks. I'm looking out for number 1, baby.
These bugs needs to be squashed.
I need to breathe. Hold on.
No, go ahead.
My adrenaline spiked a little bit. Someone sent me a health check at the start of the stream, and I'm using it right now. Hi, King. Thanks for the health check.
Hi, King.
Water's so damn good. All right. The fight scenes in Cyberpunk, in Neuromancer, were definitely more interesting. Because,
I mean, they're both interesting.
no, but I mean in the sense of, like, you can have a gunfight in a lot of series from, like, 1920s, Panama she kind of media to, like, future, you know, with guns in, like, early Star Trek and whatever. But, like, Neuromancer adds this dimension of intricacy and style, let's call it, with the cybernetic enhancements that we see, and this merging of human and technology. And that merger really opens the door for not only a lot of, like, thematic dimensionality within the book, but a lot of just, like, mental visual style. Like, you see Molly just bust out those claws, and you're like,
yes.
ah!
So even though Deckard and Molly are like both muscles and they have their own fights,
yeah, for sure,
they both have grit, but Molly is different. Like, yeah,
Molly's built different.
Deckard,
literally.
Deckard gets fucked up, loses sleep, but Molly like gets bloody. She breaks legs.
She broke her leg.
She broke her leg. She like
in Villa Strawlight, she fucking broke her leg. She was like,
and she's like walking.
They broke her like glasses, dude.
Yeah, bro, she's like, and then you know, I like how they pointed out in Neuromancer that when Case is like riding her, like
yeah, when
he gets her senses as well.
Yeah,
so,
and he feels it. He
and
feels the pain.
I think it was so badass when Molly was like,
dude,
yo, I broke my leg. If it is too much for you, like come back in
Back
5
out.
minutes. I'm like,
Yeah, come back
bro,
in 5 minutes. I was
like
bro,
I'm gonna walk it off, but if a nerd like you can handle it, I understand.
Really though, she did. That was such a cool scene because it like just proved, like,
Her
it was such a great way to
her
measure
grit and tenacity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great way to show just like how different they are as characters and like their strengths. Because yeah, Case can hack into anything most of the time because, you know, obviously there's got to be something he can't hack or else there wouldn't be a book.
Yeah.
But he can't handle the pain of a broken leg.
But
Molly's
towards
like,
the end though, like, you know, once they develop a further bond, like he stays there.
No, that was like his pivotal moment. Like if we're talking character development, Case, we see him go from like 100% I fly solo, I don't care about any relationships, I think the meat is something to be disparaged and the only truth is the cyber world. I hate having to, you know,
my body's a prison.
My body is a flesh. He goes from my body is a flesh prism to, I mean, I guess people are all right. Because he doesn't like fully, because I feel like there's still a part of him that's kind of like, you know, he like worships the cyberspace, but he did learn, like, he did grow as a character. Because if when the Zionites, what's his name, Malcolm, when Malcolm was pulling out from Villa Straylight to leave Molly to die there at the hands of what's his name, the psychopath, the psychopath and Jane 3,
Peter Riviera.
Peter Riviera.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. That guy's terrifying.
Fuck that guy.
Dude, fuck that guy. But like, you know, that moment where it was like, leave Molly to Riviera and 3 Jane to die and save my own skin, or go back, save her, maybe still die in the process. Like, he made a choice. He said, I'll go save her. And he would not have made that decision at the start of the book. He would have said, fuck it, and left her. But this character development, baby. That's what we're here for.
I think it doesn't, like, it's not in the book, but I feel like meeting Dixie Flatline made him appreciate his meat flesh more because he asked him like, "How do you feel?" And it's like that's the problem. I don't
Yeah, honestly,
like
I hadn't considered that, but that definitely had to have
because
impacted him.
like we discussed earlier, he's an
Mhm.
addict. he
He is
he
an
he
addict.
needs that adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
Even though he
yeah,
despises his meat
he
makes the
does.
adrenaline. If he like lives in the Matrix forever without a body, he'll feel nothing.
Exactly.
Even though he's
That's
jacked 24/7.
fuck. That's such a good draw
Mm-mm.
because you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Where Case is constantly disparaging like his need to like go eat food, use the bathroom, all
Yeah,
that, sleeping. He'd rather be in the Matrix all the time. But Dixie Flatline is in the Matrix all the
yeah,
time, and it's
and
miserable. He feels nothing. And so that definitely must have given Case pause when he's like presented that information at the start.
Dixie
And so I'm like,
Flatline's like his
damn.
teacher. So I feel like
Yeah,
the
he
both of them
is.
like have they don't mention it because Dixie's already a flatline.
Yeah,
But I can
yeah.
imagine him like when he was alive, teaching Case. Like he probably had some
Yeah.
small adrenaline rushes as well,
Oh, for
not to the
sure. For
extent of
sure.
Case, but
I feel.
being a flatline,
Mhm,
the existence is so hollow that his
mhm.
one request is like delete me.
Yeah, no. Because,
Like
like,
life's not worth
for
living.
sure.
even
No,
though
for
even though
sure.
I'm
For
like
sure.
jacked in all the time.
This man, it's, oh my God, that is so fascinating because that comes into like this concept of like, are you real or are you fake? Like this perception of like, is Dixie Flatline a real person or is he just a read only memory or is he just a ROM, a series of
You
bits
know
and
what?
zeros? And
Okay,
when
what do you
when we
think?
see Dixie Flatline say, "Oh, when this is over, delete me." He has a wish. He has something he wants.
Mm,
And that's like you really wouldn't think that a ROM would have wants and needs, but he does. And that really like personifies him even though he's
I think
basically a bunch of code,
I,
which is like, wow.
I think that statement actually like proves both points because like
Mm,
for a Rom to have a will, but at the same time, it's a testament to who he is. He like I don't want to live this way,
yeah,
but
for sure. Like he knows who he is
at the
and he
same
wouldn't want
time,
that for himself.
being wanted to be deleted, like also to himself, he doesn't feel real. To himself, he's a copy. He's not a
It
person.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
just get rid of me.
Exactly. No, it is absolutely crazy how that kind of parallel goes about. And it also kind of like reflects similarly in like, like we've established, Case disparages his body, but he still needs his body to get into the Matrix. And if
Mm-mm.
he were permanently in the Matrix, he just wouldn't feel
It
anything.
won't
And
be the
Dixie
same.
Flatline and Case, they're both, I would say, almost like mirrors to each other, where Dixie is kind of like a path of what could have happened to Case had he, died earlier in the series. If he had been the one to die and flatline earlier off screen, he might have been the one in the Matrix being like, delete me, I don't want this for myself,
Mm.
you know? Because they're both definitely like adrenaline chasing junkies. They're both looking for that high that comes with the cyberspace hacking. I believe one of the times, because I think Dixie flatlined multiple times in his life, but I think the one where he got the flatline nickname from was when he tried to hack into an AI's ice, when he tried to break through the firewall of an AI, which is later
Which
revealed to be Neuromancer.
Neuromancer.
Yeah. Which, guys, did you
Neuromancer
know
killed
that?
him.
Did you guys know that Neuromancer is a character in this book? I
Yeah.
didn't. That's so cool.
I thought that was just like a genre.
I thought it's crazy.
But they're like,
There's an
I'm
ad on my
Neuromancer. Like,
screen.
the title of the book.
No,
They dropped it.
no. When he goes, you must fuck. Let me see if I can find that quote. It's so good. When he's like,
Like, when,
to defeat a devil, you must know
know
its
its
true
name.
name.
I know.
And then Case is like, your Turing code is not a name, and he goes, Neuromancer. Neuro for the silver lines that pass information.
Mancer,
Mancer,
necromancer.
romancer,
Yeah.
necromancer. I am death. And I was like, chills,
Bro, that was
bro.
great.
My man, yo, Willie, Bay, you did not need to go this hard. Holy shit.
I actually have a Gotia here at my home, with names of demons because I find them really fascinating.
Yeah,
So
no, for sure.
when the first line was like, to defeat devil or a demon, you need to know its name. I was like, oh, this he's about to cook. He's about to cook.
Let him cook! Let him
He was
cook!
like, oh, wow.
Hold on, I need to pull up the quote because it's just so it goes so hard. Neuromancer name reveal. Hold on, we gotta get like the right line. Fuck, where is it? Romancer. I know here it is. It says, hold on, this is not the full quote. We gotta get the right one. But yeah, excellent stuff. Great stuff all around. I don't remember where we were going with this. We were just fangirling about how great this book is.
Oh, how Dixie died.
Yeah, Dixie died trying to hack into Neuromancer, and that's what flatlined him. And, you know, so obviously he's like chasing that adrenaline high. There were definitely like foils to each other, parallels, dark mirrors of one another. And we can also see how, you know, because one of the things that Gibson constantly plays around with in this book is kind of like that perception of reality, that perceived identity. You know, if you're just a bunch of ones and zeros, do you have an identity? And through Dixie Flatline, we can see that, yeah, he really does. He really does. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants. And he hunts after it.
He's not like Siri or Alexa, you know?
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
He's
no,
not like
sir.
Siri or Alexa. And that's actually something that I wanted to bring up during this conversation at some point, just as a caveat.
Yeah.
The AI that we know in the real world is not AI. It's not intelligence. It is just very smart pattern recognition.
Programs.
It's not creating anything new. It's not
if
creating
this,
it.
then
It's
X,
not figuring
right?
things out. It can't solve a puzzle it has not been taught to solve. It's just patterns. It's a neural network. It
like,
sees a pattern and
it's
it
cause and
recognizes
effect. You know, it's not actually
it's
thinking.
cause and effect. It's cause and effect. But a lot of the artificial intelligence that we see in like literature, that does tend to be a lot smarter. It tends to be a lot more advanced in the sense of like being actually capable of creation to a certain degree. Because again, Dixie Flatline is very much kind of like your bog standard. Like here, I would definitely, and there are actually, holy shit, I just remembered something. So
yeah,
like in computer science, there is the idea of building, there is and has been built AIs that are sort of built around a character, and that is something that you can do. If you have enough information about, say, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you can build an AI chatbot that talks and speaks like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, hello
based
there.
on like all the based on all the literature and information about him, his character. Maybe you like import a bunch of stuff from the Star Wars Wikipedia. That is a thing that you can do. But
actually,
you know, this Obi-Wan
really quick,
I've
I've seen like people make bots on Genshin characters and have them interact.
Yo,
and, like,
have you used one? Is it fun?
No, I haven't used one, but I look at people who do it and their results, like their Kea. Do you know Genshin characters?
No,
Okay.
but go on.
There's like Kea and Diluc who are like brothers who have bad blood, and when the bots interact, you know, they like
fight.
piss each other off. I was
that's
like,
so cool.
yeah, so that's what you meant, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. I actually knew someone who had like, I knew someone who had built 2 like chatbots, and she had designed them in such a way that one of them was really like sassy and the other one was really like soft spoken and kind, and she'd like set them on each other and see what conversations emerge. And so that idea of having kind of like a ROM, a read-only memory of a person, and have how they like converse is like an actual thing in real life these days. That's actually like happened. But again, it's not intelligent. It can't say something that it hasn't been taught before. If you asked me, Melody, the person, right now, hey, freestyle rap, I could probably freestyle rap you something. But if you ask me, Melody, the bot ROM, it's read-only memory. It cannot create, it cannot change. And so if you'd asked me 20 minutes ago, hey, Mels, can you freestyle rap? And that's the ROM that you downloaded, she doesn't know how to freestyle rap because she's never done it before.
Unless
she can't change.
the
'cause it's
data of the
static
original
ROM.
Mels.
You need the OG. You need the OG, the goated with the sauce. Because, you know, humans can kind of like create. And that's actually one of the fascinating parts of the 2 AIs, our twin AIs, Neuromancer and Wintermute. They're both, as they describe themselves, twins of twins. They're twins, one side of the cerebral lobe, left and right brain. One of them can create personalities out of thin air, but can't really do much of anything else, it seems. Very limited in scope to like personalities and I guess what might be considered standard supervillain AI stuff. And then there's Wintermute, who's basically running the show, the super genius computer, super hacker. We see them doing all kinds of crazy things throughout the series, but incapable of giving real personality.
Yeah.
And Wintermute really wants to be whole.
Yeah, Wintermute like points out throughout the book a lot that he needs like someone else's personality. Otherwise, he can't communicate. Like, I need someone to be like a template for me.
Yeah, he needs a template. He needs a mask to wear to be able to speak. We see him speak to the party as the Finn. They're like computer guy who like supplies them with all the tech. I think we see him as Linda Lee as well. We see him. He's Armitage basically as well, in a sense. He created Armitage, put him together as best as he can, and when he's not using Armitage, Armitage just kind of sits there like a computer on standby. Yeah.
Armitage. No. He's a sad case actually. Like he's messed up.
Armitage is so tragic. Armitage is a tragic case. You want to tell us about Armitage? You want to give us the run through of our boy?
So Armitage is basically like the Nick Fury. Introduced as like the Nick Fury.
Damn, he right.
Of the book. Like, I'm putting together a team.
He really did set up the Avengers Assemble of
But
Cyberpunk.
he's also from a war background, right? Like he went to this operation. Fist something.
Screaming Fist.
Fist. But the
Armitage...
Pentagon like sold him off. Everyone died. He's the only survivor. But
let me give you the tea.
Quote unquote survivor, like
dude, quote unquote survivor is like the way.
Like his whole face is gone. Like he's missing limbs, and he has PTSD times 100.
No, this man is fucked up with a capital F. So I'm gonna give you the refined scope.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Armitage is United States military during a time where it's like on and off the description of like, is the United States still a thing in this distant future, or are they kind of gone? It's kind of weird how they describe it within the book. But he basically is one of the survivors of the last major world war within the book. And he survived what is described as Screaming Fist. Screaming Fist is kind of like this big historic moment where the United States Congress sent off a bunch of soldiers to attack Russia. And they sent all these people off, these innocent soldiers, to basically die so that they could test out prototypes for technology that they were developing at the time. And they knew about all of the like defenses that the Russians had, all of their like high-tech ice unhackable technology that they had. So they basically sent all these guys to die just so they could test everything. And Armitage is a survivor of that. In the book, they compare that moment to Watergate.
Yeah, he's a whistleblower.
He's a whistleblower, correct. And so when at the time, Colonel Willis Corto. So Corto comes back, he's blind, he's lost most of his limbs, his face is mutilated. He's brought back, the United States Congress picks him up, and they're like, hey, we want you to testify against, the people who did this to you. But as the like proceedings is happening, Corto is like, realizes, oh, this is a sham, everyone's corrupt, this is bullshit. And that's when he like just leaves the place, guns blazing. I'm pretty sure he kills a bunch of people. And that's when he disappears and is rediscovered in France, where he is then diagnosed with like the schizophrenia, the PTSD, as a disaster of a man. And that in France is where he is reborn as Armitage by Wintermute. Wintermute reconstructs him after basically fishing him out of there.
With glue and shiny glitter.
Really though, my man's put a spray can to this man's face and just
I do like how William like wrote him like unraveling. Like you see it. Like he was so cool and collected.
You see the crack.
But the crack started and like this is kind of weird, and then he starts like unraveling towards the end, and like
so real.
Towards the end, like you barely he's like you don't understand what he's saying. It's like all dribble.
It really is. It's like this is the character who goes from like the super composed ex-military macho man with like plastic surgery to, I think the way they describe it in the book, it's going to take me a minute to find it, so I'm going to pull it out of my brain. They describe him as like an amalgamation of the last 50 years worth of like television newscaster celebrity. So he's like surgically, technologically changed his face to look like the most God, what is it when inoffensive, strong man, someone you can trust.
Give me one
He
moment.
transforms into this, and yeah.
I just want to thank CD Xiaomi for the 6 months with Prime.
6 months
Thank
with Prime.
you.
Let's go.
He also says, "Oh hell yeah, love my friends book each other off on stream." Thank you, thank you.
CD, what if you read and then we can all book off together? You know.
I actually have I have a small plan with the three of us, but I'll let you know
Ooh.
afterwards after the
Secret
stream.
sauce. Secret wink wonk, wink wonk, wink wonk. Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
God, I wish I could find
Also,
the fucking
I wanna
quote.
since you brought up like his face, like to be the most
Yes.
inoffensive. I also wanna like bring up like the first time Case meets Armitage, he knows
Mhm.
like there's something wrong with his face. It's too still.
Yes.
It's
yes,
because most of his real face is gone. It's reconstructed. That's why.
it's all fake.
Mm.
God, here I have. So technically, the first thing that Case does when he sees Armitage is he tries to like punch him, because it says, and I found this because I just like quote Case whipping his arm sideways, and the man easily ducked the scalding coffee, brown stain running down the imitation rice paper wall. He saw the angular golden ring through the left lobe. Special forces. The man smiled. So the first thing he does when he sees Armitage is like, oh shit, it's the inherent fight or flight of this man. Crazy.
Have you seen Cyberpunk anime?
The anime? Oh, hell yeah. And there are so many moments in this book where I'm like, this is just cyberpunk anime.
Because the way Armitage unravels is like cyber psychosis.
Cyber psychosis.
Because
yes!
like you know, they did note that throughout the book, like he starts like drifting off and just staring into space, just like the protagonist for Cyberpunk, and like that's
Both
like a
the
telltale
protagonist and
sign.
his mentor, because it's, what is his name? David,
yeah.
Is his name? And what's the other guy's name? Cyberpunk, Edge Runners, characters. I want to make sure we get the name. So it's David Martinez. Is it Falco? Hold on, I need images.
I think so. But that
Maine.
I'm
Maine.
just Maine, yeah. I'm just bringing it up because it's funny. I have moments where I'm just in my head because I'm thinking about a lot
And
of
you
stuff.
like zone out.
And then
Yeah.
reading this, I'm like, do I look like this to people?
Is this the cyber psychosis taking me? Am I on Twitter far too much? Oh god.
Because usually I'm a quiet guy because I stay in my head. But now reading this and seeing that, like, oh, I see where the unnerving aspect comes from now. You know, someone's just like sitting there.
Molly.
You see
God,
it-
there's a quote
yeah.
from Molly where she's asking Case just how smart an AI is, because she's trying to figure out like what is Armitage's deal. And to your point, I found the quote where Case is describing the handsome, inexpressive features offered the routine beauty of the cosmetic boutiques, a conservative amalgam of the past decade's leading media faces. The pale glitter of his eyes heightened the effect of a mask.
Yeah. It's
And so that's kind of like the whole thing of Armitage. Armitage is not a real person in a sense.
It's uncanny. There we
He's-
go.
It is uncanny, yes. And Armitage really functions more as like a mask for Wintermute a lot of the times. But in a sense, he's also like a mask for Corto. Because Corto is buried deep under Armitage, under all that PTSD surgery and trauma. And it's like you said, we begin to see Corto come back towards the end of the novel, where we see these cracks, where he's like remembering like, oh, I am Corto. We need to return to the U.S. military. This is Screaming Fist. That's how he dies. He thinks
He's still in
Screaming Fist.
Yeah,
He thinks he's
PTSD.
trying to return to the government. He's having like a PTSD episode, and in it he goes to like, he goes into an escape pod to launch himself back to the United States to report his findings.
Gets
And that's when
spaced.
Wintermute is like, this guy's useless. And he overrides the securities and launches Corto into outer space, killing him. And that's how he dies. And it's like,
I love how
damn.
this. Okay, really quick.
Yeah.
Mini, you don't have to tell me I have ADHD. Like TikTok and Twitter are already like, hey, if you do this, maybe you have ADHD. I'm like,
Damn.
no, I'm sure I'm
Real.
fine.
0%. I'm totally normal.
I'm
We have not stuck
normal.
at all. We're totally normal. We said it before this started. This is how we're gonna go about doing book club. We have been jumping back and forth, and honestly, this is the best one so far, I feel. This is so much fun.
But yeah, I like how William Gibson like details how Armitage like dies, like because he was still wearing his coat, right? And he was like, oh,
Yeah.
he looks like a bat because
Yeah, I thought that was
his
kind of
face
funny. I was like, the bat. Whoosh.
But
I was
also,
like, Batman.
this is this is my segue of saying like what I don't like about the book.
Yes, give us your takes. I found the Neuromancer quote.
You wanna get it out of your system first?
Da, 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 da. So to kind of give a little bit of to set the scene at the time, this is when Case is trapped in cyberspace and he's speaking with
Neuromancer?
Wintermute.
Oh no.
No. Da, 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 da. Yeah, this is Neuromancer. He's speaking with Neuromancer. My apologies.
Okay.
This is the moment where he realizes you're the other AI. You're Rio. You're the one who wants to stop Wintermute. What's your name? Your Turing code. What is it? And we skip a couple lines down where Neuromancer says, quote, "To call up a demon, you must learn its name. Men dreamed that once, but now it is real in another way. You know that, Case. Your business is to learn the names of programs, the long, formal names. Names the owners seek to conceal. True names." And Case interjects, "A Turing code's not your name." "Neuromancer," the boy says, slitting long gray eyes against the rising sun. "The lane to the land of the dead, where you are, my friend. Marie France, my lady, she prepared this road, but her lord choked her off before I could read the book of her days. Neuro from the nerves, the silver paths. Romancer, necromancer. I call upon the dead. But no, my friend." And the boy did a little dance, brown feet printing the sand. "I am the dead, and their land." He laughed, a gull cried. "Stay, if your woman is a ghost, she doesn't know it. Neither will you." End quote.
I like how they presented Neuromancer
good.
as a kid because let's make him more
Yeah.
unnerving.
Yeah,
Make
no,
him a
it's
child.
so scary because he's just this like little kid, and this is a fully fledged like persona that he has developed by himself.
Yeah.
He's not like Wintermute who'd
It's
be
not
like, "Oh, I
copy of
stole
a
this kid
person."
off.
Yeah.
He stole this copy of a kid off the street." It's like, no, this is an OC. Please do not steal by Neuromancer, and it is terrifying. It is so creepy.
Okay.
So you were gonna say something?
What I don't like about this book is
Yes.
I feel like there's too much fat.
Too much fat.
There's
really?
there's a lot of filler. Like some descriptors are good. Like,
Mhm.
the opening line's very iconic. Like the color of the
No, yeah.
sky is
It's the name of the chat of the stream
tuned
right
to
now.
a dead channel. Mm,
Yeah, the sky was the color of a television tuned to a dead channel.
yeah. But at the same time, I think the radio play you sent me
Yeah.
does a really good job of like trimming off the fat.
Yeah, I thought the radio play was like really incredible because, and for those of y'all who don't know, there exists a radio play made by the BBC of Neuromancer, and it hits all of the like, I would say
Main
like
points.
the key scenes, the really important scenes of the book, where it's like even if you don't really want to, if you don't really want to spend your time reading the book and you don't want to like get the audiobook or something, I'd highly recommend the BBC recording. Thank you. Yes.
Mhm.
It's really good, and I can definitely see what you mean where it like cuts out a lot of the fat because there is a lot of there's a lot going on
Like,
in the book.
don't get me
where-
wrong. Some of the descriptors are good. Like I said, the opening line, with
No, yeah.
what Molly is going through, when the scenes. But there's also a lot of
Yeah.
like, why are we talking about this? Like in the
There's
radio play, they cut off Case's other love interest, and it works because like
Yeah.
she doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, you mean Linda Lee?
Linda Lee, yeah.
Yeah, they totally. I didn't even realize that they cut her out of the stage
And
play. But I guess that's a testament to how little she is of import to the plot. I want to say Linda Lee is more important as a symbol than like an actual plot device.
also they also cut out the chase scene at the beginning, with Case like looking for a weapon, like I need a gun.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
Cobra and stuff. But I think
Yeah, and the
I think that is
Cobra.
important because it shows like his addiction to adrenaline, the thrill.
I actually, I want to contradict your point there. I want to say that scene is important not because
No,
it
it's
shows
important. Yeah.
his. No, it is important. I agree that it's a super important scene. Maybe not like I like how the stage play. Like I like the beats that the stage play hit. It's its own thing. But for this book, I feel that chase scene is really important, not because it shows Case as like an adrenaline junkie, but it shows Case. God, fuck, I had it. It's gone. He's not an adrenaline junkie. He is. It shows kind of. I got it back. It shows Case that despite how much he hates his flesh and how much he is essentially suicidal, because he is, and this is something corroborated by the text on numerous occasions, he doesn't want to die. Because at that point where he's running away from Molly, he thinks that Wage, his current employer, and the guy he owes money to, has sent someone out to kill him. And he thinks, oh shit, someone's here to kill me, I'm gonna die. And that's why he starts running, because he's afraid, because he doesn't want to die, he wants to live. And so that really establishes that, like, despite everything he says about hating his flesh, he doesn't really want to die. He's not super, like faced with the physical threat,
I feel like
he's like,
he doesn't
"I'm gonna
hate his
survive."
flesh, he hates the limitations of it.
Yeah, definitely. And so, oh shit, I knocked something over.
I heard.
it was an empty Sprite can, thankfully. And we also see kind of like there's a moment in the chase scene where he's got the Cobra, which I googled. It's like a staff. It's a bow staff, but like retractable.
Yeah.
And then he like readies up. He's gonna try and fight to survive. But as he's waiting, the adrenaline high and the drugs begin to wear off. And then he's like, nah, I'm not gonna fight. And then he leaves. He like jumps out a window and pieces out. And I thought that was really funny. And during my research, one of the like people that I was reading about who like talked about this, they were talking about how Case isn't really a violent person. He's not super into like fighting and punching.
He's
and
a
I was like,
nerd.
he is a nerd. Like when Molly went to go see the like boxing fight, she was so into it, and Case was like, I feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna go for a walk. And then trauma happens. And same here, when he thinks that Molly's gonna kill him, he's like, I'm gonna fight back. And then like the drugs wear off and he's like,
Oh,
no,
fuck.
I'm not.
My false courage is gone.
My false courage is fucking gone.
But I do
And the
agree
only
with you
time-
that it's an important scene. What I'm saying is, like, I think I mentioned this to you before. When I
Yeah.
started reading Neuromancer, I had to start over 3 times.
I want to say it is a hard read.
Like, I had to
Not
reread
for-
all of that. Like, the first, that whole bit is really long. And I was like,
It's long.
I'm
It's long.
struggling to, like, process, like, what's going on because there's a lot of information. And even
I
though.
want to say. Yeah, no, you finish your thing
Sorry.
and I'll add to it. Because No. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
for interrupting.
Like, even though I did say, like, the radio play trims out a lot of fat, I feel like you wouldn't actually get the radio play unless you read the whole book.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I'm like, when I was listening to it, I was like trying to look at it from the perspective of someone who hasn't read the book, and I can see them easily being lost. I'm not lost because I
Yeah.
read the book already, but even
Yeah,
then,
100%.
like, it was slightly hard to like follow because of all the fat and details, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Neuromancer it's a pretty dense book, and its complexity is further enhanced by the way the narrator of this book both Case and, like his internal monologuing,
Mm.
is just so full of random techno babble
Yeah.
and techno gibberish. And that's what made it, for me specifically, really hard to parse at the start. Because he was like, yeah, I'm a console cowboy. And I was like, all right, I get that. We're going to jack in. And I was like, yeah, that's like plugging into the Matrix. The Matrix, cyberspace, coffins,
Yeah.
Razor Girl, Construct, Dex,
There's-
Microsoft,
There's a
Morbid,
lot of
Ice,
terms
Lindsay,
that you have to like pick up,
ah.
like context clues wise.
You really gotta, like, this is a book that I feel like would benefit from the modern convention of fantasy books having like a dictionary at the end of the book with all their key terminology. I think that would be so helpful for this book.
Oh
You
yeah.
could, like,
Oh my
flip to the
gosh.
back and be like, what's a modern again?
Oh yeah. Oh my
And-
gosh. I can imagine that. Like if you flip back, like what's like a jack, and then it's like jack as seen in page this is referred to the blah 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 blah. That would have been so
Exactly.
handy.
I feel like that would have been a great addition to the book, but I feel like that's like a newer thing because
Yeah.
a lot of like modern fantasy books have that in the back. They'll have maybe like their instructions on like their magic system, key characters, etc., etc., etc. But I think that this book, both a dictionary and like a list of character names, because a lot of these character names have like aliases and nicknames that they go by. And that made it really hard for me at times to keep track, because there was a point in the middle of the book where I had no idea who was Flatline, Dixie, whatever. And I was like, wait, is this is the Construct, but why do they keep calling him different names? Is this a different person? Is this the same guy? And it like confused the hell out of me for a couple chapters in the middle. And when I was researching, I found, I think, like the full name. And Dixie Flatline's name is McCoy Dixie Flatline Polly. And so
Flatline's the title,
names.
right? Because he flatlined.
Flatline is like his title.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like his main.
He
It's
earned
like his
it by
title
flatlining.
of honor. He earned that by flatlining like a crazy person. And then Dixie is like, I think, his like traditional nickname. And then McCoy Polly is like his actual name. But he goes by all four of those. And this is another like aspect of like identity, like we've got people, we got Dixie with like so many aliases. We've got Case, who also, when he was captured by the Turing police, or was it earlier in the book? At some point, someone lists off to Case all of his like aliases, and he's like, "What are all these names that you're? Oh, okay, these are aliases I've used before. You're getting to the newer ones. I remember these now." And then when you've got again Armitage and Corto, and God only knows if Molly's real name is actually Molly, And then Neuromancer, also addressed as Rio. Names have power in this book.
Yeah.
And names kind of represent all different sort of like aspects of these peoples and their personalities. And Molly also has a nickname by the Zion people. They call her Stepping Razor.
Yeah,
So
it's like
that's
wait,
gangsta.
who's like it's cool, but when it first like came out,
That confused me.
Yeah, I was like Step in Razor. I'm like, who's that? Is that a new item? Is that a new person? No,
Yeah.
it's fucking Molly.
It's fucking Molly. I think it took me a while to register that was what they called Molly, because like I understood that Razor was definitely referring to her, Molly,
Scalpels.
the Razor Girl, but it wasn't until later during my research that I realized, okay, so the Zions are based on like this like movement, the Rasta, Sonrata. And they actually have like in their mythology a character called the Stepping Razor, and so when they call her Stepping Razor, it is like a term of endearment. It is a sign of respect for Molly, and honestly it makes sense because she's fucking badass. What can I say?
Yeah.
She'll kick your ass and smile while doing it. She'll look great. She's got reflective sunglasses, dresses in all black, and has got knives for nails. Come on. What a dame.
But like more to the confusing and fat part of the book. And this is probably me overthinking it, because in the book at some point, they give him a new pancreas and liver that filters out all the drugs. He'll never get high, right?
Yeah.
But then he finds this drug that bypasses that, and he gets high like during like at the beginning of the last arc, right?
Yeah, he does. He gets like
So
fucking
I'm-
wasted.
I think this is me overthinking it, because I'm like, now that he's like dripping fucking balls, like what's fucking real anymore? Everything's real. But I didn't know that.
I feel
I was on my toes, I was because the combination of tripping balls and Peter Riviera and his fucking illusions. I'm like,
That's so
my mind's overloaded. Like,
yeah.
I'm on my toes reading the last part because I never knew what was real or not. But it turns out everything was real, you know? Like,
Well,
I wasn't like,
yeah.
I was on guard for no fucking reason.
You are speaking so much truth, because for me, like, I understood. I had the same problem, but in a different part of the book. Because like during the final arc, like after he was like tripping balls and whatever, like whenever Peter Riviera did an illusion, it like took me a while to realize, oh, okay, that tiger wasn't actually real from a few pages ago. That was Riviera's fucking illusions, that jackass.
Yeah.
But one thing that did confuse me was when he was in cyberspace trapped by Neuromancer, and he was at the house, and I was like, why are we at the beach? What's going on? Are we in the Matrix? And that part really confused me because I saw Linda Lee there, and I was like, is Linda alive?
No,
what's
she
going
fucking
on?
died.
Yeah,
But
she did die, but I was so confused because that was during the start of the book where I was still confused by what the hell a construct was, and what decking in was, and what the hell was going on. And so that part, like,
But it is kind of
the switch-
important though, because like they established
important.
at the beginning that Linda Lee died, and it, like
Yeah.
establishes this neuromancer thing. Like, look, I brought
Yeah,
Linda
yeah.
Lee back, but it
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
fucking confusing.
No, that part for me, like through
now that I
logic,
understand
was-
it, like okay, I see. But at first read, I was like, huh?
Yeah, no, that was definitely something that if I hadn't done like all sorts of crazy like analysis readings and like gone down the depths of the internet to study what the hell was going on, I probably would have needed to reread it slowly, carefully with a marker, just kind of being like taking notes, because it just threw me for a loop. I don't know what part I don't know why, but it just confused the shit
I mean,
out
I
of
think
me.
it is
all
kind of
that.
confusing as a layperson. Also, hi, Dai.
Hi, Di! How you doing, my love?
We're
Are
just
you excited
nerding
for
out.
Friday?
Oh yeah, I'm excited for
We're nerding
Friday.
the hell. What?
I'm excited for Friday.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for Friday. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah, and it's like you said, I think another aspect of why this book is like definitely kind of like hard to like parse through is this idea of like, Neuromancer as a book has a lot of fun playing with the concept of what is real and what's not real, both in like a physical sense, like the real world, and in the metaphysical sense of like cyberspace. Because all the characters recognize as like, oh, cyberspace is like a real place that you can go to, and what happens there has an impact on you in real life. This is where we get like flat lines. This is where we get stupid ads on my fucking background. Go away, go away, go away. Thank you.
I wish there's a way
This
like
is-
for me to share my background.
I mean, yeah, maybe you could just do Discord screen share, but that's gonna take too long to set up. And I'm cooking.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Neuromancer plays a lot with like your perception of reality. What's
Yeah.
real, what's not. We see this with like the real space
my gosh.
versus cyberspace.
I'm glad
we
you're
see
bringing
this
that up. Go
with
ahead.
like we see this with like Case and his addictions to drugs and how that affects him, how he wants to be numbed to reality because he can't stand being in his flesh prison, being in the meat.
In the meat.
We also have like Armitage and Corto, where it's like which one of them is real, which one of them is not. And we also, funnily enough, we see this with Malcolm and his like Zionites, where they smoke the ganja.
Yeah.
They get a little high, a little cheeky high, and part of their belief system is when they tell you a story while high, that they truly believe is real. They believe that that is real. That happened to him. He felt that. It's not something like he's lying to you. It's not something that like it didn't really happen. It's something that really happened to him versus something that happened in the real world. And that is something still very valid in their like belief system, that it's like, it may not have happened in the real world, but it happened to him during his ganja trip. And therefore it is real and it is valid and it is a thing that should be respected. And it like, there's so many irrealities kind of playing around within the book, which just makes it really fun in that sense, because it's like, okay, so what is real, what's not? But it also makes it hard to be like, what the fuck is real and what's not?
Yeah. Oh,
Why
gosh.
does this feel like the final season of Lost? Like, come on!
Okay, I'm gonna hop on your thought train and
Go for it. Ride.
have you seen Ghost in a Shell?
I have not seen the anime, and I honestly, I want to be. I feel like you can hate me for this. I think I only watched the live action
Oh
Scarlett
my
Johansson
gosh.
Ghost in the Shell when it came out in the movie theater, and I remember nothing.
Okay.
So tell me all about
I
it.
thi- it's a shame you didn't see it, but I'm still gonna mouth off on it.
Yeah, no, go for it. Tell me
I
everything
feel like
about Ghost in
maybe
the Shell.
after this stream you should like totally watch it. Like
I'll
the
watch it.
original
I'll watch it.
OG old one.
I really do want to see the original. Maybe this is a good time for me to watch it since I'm
Yeah.
already like my brain is
Yeah,
wired
yeah.
for all this like
Because
cyberpunk stuff.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, it's circa Akira. They both came out after Neuromancer.
so one of the things that I want to point out is remember
Mhm.
when three piece
Three Jane.
three Jane was like
Three Jane. Correct. Oh my god,
regaling
Three Jane.
regaling her like childhood, like how this ghost
What a fucking psychopath.
helped her
Talk to her.
to her,
Helped her.
and we find out that's like an AI, right?
That's Wintermute hanging out with Lady
Bro,
Three Jane.
Ghost in a shell.
Yo, no,
Ghost.
tell me.
Ghost.
Wait.
Like the ghost.
Wait, is
Three
the
Jane.
Ghost in the Shell AI?
It's an
Ghost in the
AI.
Shell as well?
It's an AI.
Shit!
Like
That's so
wait, I'm getting
cool!
goosebumps talking about this, but yeah,
Holy fuck!
And-
That's so cool!
the
Oh my god.
one of the plots of like Ghost in the Shell is this AI who's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
being like restrained by the government, but they want to like expand
to
and
free
evolve.
themselves.
Yeah. So right now they're like a
Oh,
ghost
fuck!
in a shell,
Yeah.
wanting to be complete. It's so good. It's so good.
That's so fucking cool!
And at the end of Ghost in the Shell, the AI gets free and they become this
yeah.
higher being, just like
Yeah. Just like Wintermute and Neuromancer.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So like I'm saying, like oh, it's like it's a similar ending. Like the ending's the same.
Gibson was on it.
Yeah.
Gibson was on it.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's so
So-
cool. I wanna I'm like losing my mind because like I wanna add to this because it's like you said, we have I don't know how it is in Ghost in the Shell, but at least here in Neuromancer, we the undercurrent, the secret battle that's happening between Wintermute and Neuromancer throughout the whole series, where excuse me, where Wintermute is desperately trying to merge with Neuromancer, and Neuromancer is desperately trying to be like, stay over there, far away from me.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's fascinating how even at the end of the book, when they finally become one, and Case asks Wintermute Neuromancer,
What are you?
kind of like, how do you feel? What's different? What are you? And he's like, I am
Nowhere.
everything.
I'm
and
nowhere and everything.
Nowhere
Everywhere.
and everywhere.
Yeah.
I am nothing and everything. I am just more now. And it's so
They're just a god
interesting
now.
they're just a god now, and they kind of don't know how to describe it. And they also, and this one I thought was really interesting. I thought this was the line that made me think, this is the one out of one books with a line like this. And there's a point where Neuromancer Wintermute says something like, "Oh, I've already found another super intelligent god AI out there in the world
Yeah.
who's sending signals to Earth, but no one was smart enough to figure out what those weird
Yeah, they've been sending it
signals were."
forever.
And so, yeah, and they've been sending them forever. And so he like figures that out, and there's other AIs like him. And I was like, you're gonna drop a line like that on me, Willie, and tell me there's no book 2? And then there was a book 2. So who knows what we'll do there? Maybe that's what it's about. I don't know. But it's that same idea of like, these AIs that kind of like look to become stronger, to become more powerful, more intelligent.
Yeah.
And then
Unbound.
it's funny because like once unbound, exactly. And then when they did get that power, he just kind of chilled with it. Like he didn't really do anything bad with it. And like he's obviously not ending world hunger either, but he's just kind of chilling, enjoying his newfound freedom. And he kept his promises. He wiped Dixie Flat 9. He destroyed his ROM. He paid Molly and Case and Malcolm their money
the sacks.
because that's what he hired them to do.
The
And so I
toxin
thought that was
sacks.
like really interesting, where it's like this super powerful AI is like just it's like a god, but like he's still like a decent enough person. It's like good business.
Actually, I was like
So-
thinking about that too because Molly and Case,
Yeah.
they have this relationship at the beginning of everything because they were like, we don't trust Artemage,
Anyone.
and then they found out it's Wintermeat. Like, we don't trust Wintermeat. And, like,
Yeah.
they're doing all this like background research on their employer
Yeah.
because someone this
Because they don't
powerful,
trust.
yeah. And we
Mm.
find out that for Wintermeat to like set this all up, like they
Years.
it like made some stuff happen and killed off all the witnesses.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
what's to say that
Wintermute
they're not gonna do it?
played the long game.
What's to say that Wintermeat's not gonna do that to them?
Honestly, great point. And I guess
and
we'll never know.
I think I
Unless we
know
do.
now.
What's your take? What's your take?
I feel like because Wintermute slash Neuromancer slash the complete
Yeah.
being is now
God
like a god
AI.
level AI that
Yeah.
like killing them off is like beneath them. Like, whereas when Wintermute like killed off when
Damn.
Wintermute killed off like to set up that 20-year plan,
Mm-hmm.
he murdered all those people as a means to an end because they
He
need to
did.
shut it
He
up.
did.
He
Mhm.
right now
He
he's
did.
at this point where even if they talk, like I can just like snap my finger.
And like,
Like,
just
yeah,
make them disappear.
yeah, I'll upheld my end of the bargain because it's so easy for me now. And
Honestly,
like,
I could believe that.
yeah, now that I'm like everywhere, anything, all at once.
I
Like,
think there's definitely.
like-
I think he's definitely like a true neutral entity now.
Mhm.
Not good, not evil, just neutral.
like
He kept his
it's
end
at
of the
the
bargain,
point
and
where
he has
no one can
inclination
stop
to do
them
better.
now. And even
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
did, like he'll detect it like 1 nanosecond from the intention.
Yeah, for
Because-
sure. I feel like even if anyone could stop Neuromancer AI's God mode, the damage that he could do
Hmm.
before that, immeasurable.
Yeah, like
And-
Wintermute's calculating power and Neuromancer's like personality creator, like
Yeah.
you can like make diagrams like, is this person gonna be a problem now? And my
He can,
calculation
like,
says no.
compute that.
Yeah.
Yo, that preemptive detecting of will this person be a program? Psychopath energy, my dude.
Yeah.
Psychopath energy, my dude.
But Psychopath was
Bro.
flawed because they used actual human brains.
They used actual human
biased.
brains, and that AI couldn't create its own personalities either.
Mhm.
But still, really interesting.
Yes.
That one I feel. Parentheses. Let's talk. So we've both seen Psychopaths. Do you feel that that's more kind of like a neo noir, or do you think that's still cyberpunk?
Both actually, because it's still like a cop
Really?
detective. Like they research psychopaths like a detective would, like noir stuff, serial killers. But at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, it is still cyberpunky with the weapons and the way they detect stuff. I feel like it's more noir than cyberpunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like because there's no kind of like hacking, no hacker character, and there's no real interfacing, like direct interfacing
Yeah,
between
yeah.
like flesh
It's
and technology.
futuristic,
I feel
but it's
like
not
that-
cyberpunk enough.
I feel like it's not cyberpunk. I feel like it's more like neo noir.
Mm-mm.
That's like where I'm sitting at.
Yeah, I agree.
Look at us go.
Oh my gosh, speaking
So
of
you brought
hacking,
it. Yeah.
in
Yeah,
Ghost
yeah.
of the Shell, you can actually hack people, and it's so fucking sad because they're like,
Wait, you can hack into a person's brain?
yeah. And so
Oh,
there was this
fuck.
one terrorist who was like, I'm doing
Yeah.
this because why am I doing this?
Oh god.
Like for my daughter, right? Wait, do I even have a
Holy
family?
shit.
Like, oh, this is like implanted memories, and like the cops like go through his brain,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, he's been
Yeah, yeah.
hacked. Like it's too fried. There's no coming back from this. He's gone.
Oh
I'm like,
my
fuck.
God. Dude,
Yeah, it's so
that
fucking
hit.
scary.
No, that's so scary. And I mean, like, we saw this also in like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, where they didn't really directly hack Lucy, but she got fried during
Yeah.
one of her hacks. She got like totally decimated by it, and it's like, damn. Install some corrupted malware on them, and they're fucked. It's really scary in that sense. Like, the idea of like, yeah, pro me up, but also like, install really good firewalls, two-factor authentication. Please don't hack me.
There's a hacker out there like, you think that's enough?
Really though.
Mhm.
Hold on, there was something I wanted to go to next,
Go ahead.
but I don't know what. Because there's like, I want to talk about a little bit about 3 Jane and how she's like really creepy.
Oh
But
my
there's
gosh.
also the aspect of like to briefly like touch on this again real quick, because I think 3 Jane, we can come back to her at any point.
Hmm.
One of the things that I thought, because we were talking about like hackers hacking, the Matrix is so interesting because obviously during this time the internet really wasn't like super mainstream. It's still kind of like pretty niche-esque.
I
It's only
can hear the dial-up connection now.
yeah, for real. But nowadays, with like this modern sort of wave of technology, you see kind of like you can see that the Matrix is almost like beta internet in the minds of the people who are reading this. Because like now you read it and you're like, oh, they totally predicted the internet, but kind of. And there's also like what I found really interesting was kind of like it's this consensual hallucination by thousands and thousands of people, and for some reason that really made me think of like how do you get in. It made me think of like the logistics of the Matrix, kind of like when you connect to the Matrix, can someone find you in the Matrix? And I don't know. I think I think I got lost in the sauce there for a minute. But something. The Matrix in this, the Matrix in Neuromancer made me think of like the idea of like the dark web in current reality, not in the sense of like bad things going on in the dark web, but in the sense of like you download a software and you can do regular people things while on quote unquote the dark web, because the dark web is just kind of like a means to access the internet in a completely encrypted manner where you are completely anonymous, if I'm not mistaken. And it felt like Neuromancer was like that. You can use the Matrix to access this vast amount of data for totally like normal things like learning mathematics, how they use in the example at the start of the book, or for, hacking into see all these like companies and stealing shit. And so I just thought it was kind of like interesting parallel that. End quote. Rant over. 3 Jane.
No, I get it, because like it's a tool, but at the same time, it's too powerful. Like,
yeah. A lot of the book is like that, where it's like technology is a tool. All of these cybernetic enhancements are really just tools. Being able to jack into the Matrix, it is a tool. And if you're an asshole, no amount of cyberpunk hacking is gonna make you a better person. Case, you need to learn and grow, develop emotions, touch grass.
But just like Case, I've been questioning myself too. Like, why do we have Peter Riviera? Why do we need him? What does he bring to the table? And I like after
I'll tell
like
you exactly.
No, I get it. Like after
okay.
after like mulling it over a lot, and like reading it again.
It's
for 3 Jane. Because
it is exactly for 3 Jane.
Because 3 Jane's like fucked up, and they like I
3
guess
Jane is
I guess
really
Wintermute figured out that we need Riviera because
3 Jane is into that kind of shit.
3 Jane's into Peter. That's it.
That's literally, I was looking into that as well, because during the radio play, and then during my research, I was like, I forgot about Riviera. I was like, wait, fuck, I remember this guy. He's the main bad guy. Wait, where did he come from again?
He's the main bad guy.
He's not the main bad guy.
He's not. He's an asshole, but I won't say a main bad guy.
He's a certified capital P psychopath, and he's definitely a very strong antagonist, but he's definitely not the main antagonist. And I feel like even in this book, there isn't a bad guy per se. The bad guy is society, for sure. But we'll get there in a minute. For now, 3 Jane. 3 Jane's like very obviously fucked up, and I mean like if you're the cloned daughter of these,
kind of way.
in a rich person kind of way, yes, absolutely, but also in like she's a clone, and there's a clone of her for backup, and then her brother's also a clone. 8 Gene, like who is gonna be okay with a name like 3 Jane and 8 Gene? That's fucked up. And it said in the book that she never met. She never physically met her biological father, which is insane. And then most of her alive quote unquote family is on cryogenic sleep, but she's awake at time of book, which is
are
insane.
you even family because of all this disconnect?
It's crazy. I was when I was reading all these characters, I was like, what does the family tree even look like at this point? And then I have and then her bodyguard is a clone, where it's she's surrounded by all these people who are
cultured,
just
that
made.
What's his name again?
Grown, which is it's insane to think that this is their reality. And
what's his name again? The Vat
Hideo?
Hideo, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Hideo.
He's cool.
Hideo's a clone of a clone of a clone. Hideo is really like the Boba Fett of this. He's just a clone who's a bounty hunter and really good at fighting and killing shit. And then, here's some notes that I got here that I think are important to point out. That she, with Wintermute, like you said, the ghost in the shell, are the ones who poison her biological father's memory. She is the one who takes Ashpool and makes him have nightmares for 30 fucking years.
While in cryo sleep.
While in cryo sleep. He can't defend himself. She's like, I'll end this man's whole career. Like, what a psychotic teenager. And then and then like we saw this because, and we know that she's into like Riviera. Why is she into Riviera? Because she's fucked up. She's super into like that creepy violence. She's like fascinated by it, but she's also bored by it, which is why in the end of the book, where once like Riviera defects from like Team Case to Team 3 Jane, after a while, she's like bored of Riviera. She's like, go do something else, Riviera. She's like sending him off on his own thing.
Molly's more interesting now.
Molly was much more interesting to her. She's something new, a new toy. And so it's like she gets bored. And so that's actually one of the reasons why towards the end of the book, she decides to help the gang free Wintermute so that it can merge with Neuromancer. And it's because she knows that if she doesn't do that, well, nothing will ever change. But if she lets these two AIs sort of more merge together, maybe something interesting will happen and she won't be bored anymore. Which is such like a crazy thing to
It's definitely a first world problem.
It's definitely a rich people problem. Like, it's insane. Like, she has such strong rich people energy. It's like crazy.
Bro, morality and legality aside, though, I kind of want my own Hideo.
Honestly,
he's so fucking cool. Like,
he's so cool.
Like
he's ready to fight blind.
He's a tool. He's a tool, but it's like a powerful tool. Like, I don't think Hideo's even a person.
See, that's like one of the big things that like Gibson is constantly like toying around with within this like book. It's that idea of like who is real, who is a person, and what's not a person. And we see even like Case struggle with this question where he starts calling Wintermute he, and then Dixie has to be like, not he, it. And it's like, oh, but can you really call it an it when it clearly has its own motivations and goals, when it's this crafty? And it's like, shit, man, it gets in your head. It fucks with your mind, your perception. It's so fucking cool.
Can I highlight how Peter Riviera died because I just hate him?
Yes. Yeah.
I love how he
go
basically blinded Hideo. It was like, haha, you're blind now. You can't hurt me. And then lands like a blow, and I'm like, how? Like, and the Trijan's like, you fool. He's trained to like do it with his eyes closed. And then
Jane's like, you fucking nerd. He does this all the time. What are you even on?
Hideo's like the ultimate bodyguard.
Hideo's like, oh my wamo, shinderu.
And then Peter, realizing like he's fucked, runs away.
Peter is also just nothing more than just a shitty psychopathic junkie. Like, he's just a creep. That's all he brings to the table.
And I love, messed up as 3 Jane is, I love this line where Peter runs away and she's like, Hideo, kill him, make it slow. And then Hideo's like, yes, ma'am.
Gangsta.
That's the last we hear of the both of them.
That's so... Riviera fucking dies off screen. And it's like, damn.
And you can only imagine, because of how like
bro,
amazing and potent Hideo is. Like when he shot that arrow to Malcolm,
dude,
like
cool.
he specifically aimed it near the artery,
so
but not the arteries. Like the precision of this man.
No, this man's good at his job. And they like surprised them. They like came in like, surprise, motherfucker. And Hideo's like, no. So good. So good.
It's like, we're prepared. We have all the potions, and then Hideo hits a nat 20. But it's
real.
But they're like, oh fuck, our party's kind of fucked. But at the same time, Hideo just hits nat 20s all the time.
Hideo's on that like
what
constantly on it. Hideo really is the level 20 adventurer against a party of level 3 noobs, and he's like got god tier luck. This man is built different.
But yeah,
So
I
so
thi-
good.
I fully think Peter got what he deserved.
Oh, for sure. Like Peter, dipshit, disgusting. Since we're on the topic of Peter, let's discuss.
Mm.
Our resident psychopath, another drug addict, a master of illusions. This man is a guy who replaced his left lung for an implant that lets him create hyper-realistic holograms and illusions. And it's just so fucked up how he uses them. Like, it's terrible. He just creates this fucked up, like, I shall create a doll and she will destroy me. And it's like, what the fuck?
Have you
And then that's like, and 3Jane is like, I'm into that. Like,
have you played Bioshock?
I have not played Bioshock.
Okay, so in Bioshock, there's this plastic surgeon, and
Mhm.
helps people with
Mm-mm.
defects and stuff. But throughout the game of Bioshock, they discovered this substance that lets you basically mold people like clay, and
Fuck.
which makes like his job easier, and everyone like
Mhm.
he's good at it. But
Yeah.
over time, like he goes insane because of all the freedom. Because like
Holy shit.
he's like, I feel like I'm doing only the base, like the
Yeah,
cleft
yeah, yeah.
nose, the up chin and stuff.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
starts
yeah.
losing his mind because like thinking like Picasso basically and fucking people
No,
up.
yeah.
Like
Honestly, like, I get it because it's like you
Yeah.
have this power to like distort this person's face to like its maximum potential.
mm.
And like, I wouldn't want to do that. But like, this guy definitely thought, like, well, why not? Why the
Yeah.
fuck not?
So like
And it's
his
like-
patients like come in like, help me doctor, and then wake up they're like fucked up and are like, you are
That's so
art,
scary.
my dear. Like I transformed
yeah.
you from a person into
Damn,
art.
that-
And I'm like, I think it's kind of
Dude.
similar to Peter. Like now
It's
that he
a
has,
similar type of psychoticness for sure.
I have this power to like change things. Like
Mhm.
for some reason they
Yeah.
just go to the extreme because they can.
Yeah, because they can. They have like no filter. They have no self-control.
Hmm.
And it's like, it's so crazy. And then Riviera also is like fucked up. Obviously, Riviera is just like fundamentally fucked up. But then he's also fucked up in a way that like hurts Molly emotionally. Because there's definitely something. He definitely rented out Molly when she was when she had to work as a doll, but he just doesn't let it go. And it's like Molly has a very, very honed in like murderous intent towards Riviera, and like she definitely should have gotten the kill on him, but Hideo took that, and honestly, Hideo will make sure the job is done well.
And Molly wasn't in a position anymore. Like she's at that point
She
of
was
the
kinda fucked.
story. Like she's
pretty
very
fucked
fucked
up.
up. Yeah.
I think she even like acknowledges it. She's like, I like would kill Riviera, but I kind of can't stand right now, so
Yeah.
Hideo's gonna do an alright
Like, my
job.
other eye's like fucking broken.
No, it's fucking insane. But yeah, Molly despises him. Any sane person despises him. Jane's like kind of into it, but also kind of bored by it already.
Into it because like it's something new. Like the rich
Yeah, that's what
person
she looks for.
chasing
that,
for
like,
that one
new
high, the next
experience.
high.
Yeah, the next high, because she's so like desensitized to it all. She's like, oh, I've already seen all of the great things that like technology can have. Like, what more could I want? She has everything. She's rich. She's like she's basically, in a sense, it's really similar to how
It's really
it's like opposite directions.
fatherless
like,
behavior.
It's what?
Fatherless behavior.
Damn.
She basically has no family. That's why his
She has-
moral compass is so fucking corrupt.
No, really. And like the only connection that she had to her mother, what is her name? Mary France?
Yeah,
Marie
I feel like
France,
I feel like they were close, but she fucking died.
She did not die. She was murdered by
I mean,
Ashpool. She
People
was
die
murdered by her
and they're
husband.
murdered.
She was murdered by Ashpool. Ashpool murdered her because he didn't like AIs, and Marie France was kind of into AIs and and what the technology could do. So he kills her, and then what she leaves is basically like all of her like philosophy books and whatever, and that's all like 3Jane had to work off of. It's like crazy. That and recordings of her mom, which is like crazy. Could you imagine like knowing everything about your mom but only ever having been able to see her in this like digitized recorded aspect
Of the
That's kinda
murder.
weird. That's
Of the murder.
and then of the murder too. It's like fuck. Ugh. No, it's It's super, super crazy. So many crazy characters in here. Let me scroll through the list. Because we did a lot of... Because we got, like, Case, obviously.
Yeah.
We got Molly.
Yeah.
We got Linda Lee. We haven't talked that much about Linda Lee. Do you have any thoughts on her?
She's... Wait, I feel a burp coming up.
All right. She's there.
She's...
Oh, I should...
Dying is her thing. Like...
Dying
She's a plot device. There we go. She's like made to like, you know, for Case. Like
I want to say
with Neuromancer. Yeah.
I want to say I don't think she's a plot device because she doesn't really kick off any aspect of the plot, but she is, I feel like, a symbol, like a thematic object, because she kind of represents that like connection to reality, to humanity, to the flesh, basically, that Case disparaged so heavily at the start, and that in a sense got her killed because of that, because he got her hooked on drugs, and because of that she stole from him, and that kind of he kind of got her wrapped into this world that he lives in of, like, you know, running from the law, this kill or be killed sort of mentality. And that's what got her killed, you know? She stole from him to buy more drugs or to buy a plane ticket out of Ninsei, or just kind of like, she basically went out to look for money in the most dangerous way possible. And she got killed because it was easier to kill her and steal what she was carrying than to just buy it off her.
Yep.
And then towards the end, when Neuromancer
brought her back.
Thank you. When Neuromancer brought her back as like a ROM, she's just kind of there as kind of this offering to Case, like, hey, you can just stay here in the Matrix with me forever. You'll never know. She'll never know.
It's paradise.
And you can live and pretend and live in this paradise together forever. And Case like recognizes, like, cold is cold. It's cold out. I'm gonna throw firewood in this fake fireplace in this fake cyberspace world. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna be with Linda Lee one last time, and then I'm gonna peace out because none of this is real. And that's actually one of the things that activates within Case, and this is something we actually haven't talked about yet, his anger, his rage, because Neuromancer offered him this primal want of like a warm place to sleep, someone to hold, food. Neuromancer offered this to him and then took it away because it's like, it's not real. You offered him a fake reality, and that gives him a rage that sort of drives him to act. And we see this a lot. Like Case kind of exists almost in this perpetual state of either completely numb or deeply enraged. And it's fascinating because Wintermute knows this. And Wintermute explicitly tries to manipulate Case to be angry. Because I think the line kind of goes something like Wintermute's talking to Case, and he's like, yes, that rage, use it, but don't be mad at me, be angry at them, to kind of keep Case on the mission so that he doesn't just kind of like collapse into a heap of depression again and become numb. And so it's kind of like Linda Lee is like almost like a catalyst for those moments of rage.
But at the same time, like, coming from what Neuromancer's point of view, like, everything's fake, sure, but if you don't know, what's the difference? You know?
It's that idea of playing with your perception of reality again. You know, are you really in the Matrix if you don't know? They played that with that idea in the fucking Matrix.
Yeah.
Red pill or blue pill. It's that is really a cyberpunk like core thing. And did you know that cyberspace, the term, was coined in this book? Like, William Gibson invented cyberspace.
I believe that.
Yeah, I read that somewhere during my studies, and I was like, that's cool. Because cyberpunk was not coined by Gibson. The first time cyberpunk was like...
I think people just used it, right?
No. There was a short story published in one of those like science short story magazines. In like, I think it was exactly in like 1980, they published a short story called Cyberpunk. And that's where like the term originates from. And so that's why we have the word cyberpunk. Some guy wrote a short story about it. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, but I think Linda Lee, I think I still think she's a plot device. Like she died so that we can see how powerful Neuromancer is. Like it was important to
Yeah.
introduce her at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning and to get
Mm.
to know her, just so that
Yeah,
they can
yeah,
show
I
off
see your
how
take.
good
Mm.
Neuromancer like replicated her.
Yeah, how good
Like look at
Neuromancer is
me,
at like planning.
not planning, but creating a person, like basically bringing the dead back to life.
Oh, you're completely right. You're completely right. Cause like Linda Lee in oh shit,
With her,
Linda Lee in
yeah,
yeah. You're absolutely right. I when I said at the start that I didn't think she was a plot device, she was more a thematic thing. I take that back. I think you're right. Cause it is true. She needs to kind of be there for that final third act
because
battle between Wintermute
yeah,
and
if we
Case.
didn't know Linda Lee from the beginning and like look at this person I brought back, and we'll be like, who the fuck's that?
Exactly. If there's no like emotional weight between the two, then
Mm-mm.
it like the whole scene falls mute. And it's
Yeah,
really ironic how it's Linda Lee, a character who Case he like loved her at some point, and
yeah,
he does harbor some affection for
yeah,
her, but it's not strong and it's not quite enough to draw him in and stay in cyberspace. And especially, we see that at least at the time, his attention and his affection for Molly is significantly stronger because,
yeah.
like
But
he went
Case
to go
as
out
a
and save her.
person, I feel like never really found anyone like that. Like if there was one person like that, I think he would be enticed to stay.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said that Case has not found someone that
But
he could
he's not
spend the
even
rest of his
looking,
life with. He's definitely he's not looking either, but he's a console cowboy. It's almost kind of
Yeah.
like it's part of the deal. Like even Molly at the end, the two of them very clearly have something more than just the sexual relationship that they had at the start of the book. They
Mm-mm.
definitely had a more like intimate, possibly even a romance blooming between them. But Molly still at the end of the book leaves. She writes him. She doesn't even say goodbye. She leaves
Yeah,
him a
she's
note
gone.
pinned with the shuriken, and she says, "Watch your back, XOXO, Molly," and she just leaves. And for Molly's character, it does in a
It
way
checks
make
out.
sense.
Yeah.
It checks out. Molly was always presented as this kind of lone wolf style character who was very dedicated to
From
like her
one
job
job to
as
the
a hunt,
next. Mm-hmm.
one job to the next, very dedicated to whoever hires her, but not truly loyal, always moving on to the next job, truly dedicated to like her skill as like an assassin, as a bodyguard,
The only
as a razor
reason.
girl and hitman for hire. That's really like what she's passionate about.
Mm-mm.
And Case doesn't fit into that picture. It doesn't fit into what she wants
Exactly.
from her life, and that's why she leaves. So it does. Well, it is a bummer for Case that she
He's not
left.
too beat up about it because he also leaves that
not too beat
lone
up about it.
cowboy life as
He
well.
has a lot of like lone ranger kind of like, he's a console cowboy. What's
Yeah.
he gonna do? He's always jacked into cyberspace. Now he wants to be one with the flesh. It's like
No.
character
Like,
development, but also
I think
like
Molly said it really good too. Like, I see how you look at that console. It was sexual.
yeah, yeah,
Like
no.
more, and we
Case-
slept together. You know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Case's true love has and always been like jacking into the Matrix. That high he gets from cyberspace, and he is truly an addict above and all. But there is something to be said that like that could eventually. That is kind of like one of his. It is both what makes him and what breaks him as a character.
Mm-mm. But the only reason
And-
Molly even like approached Case about, hey, this is all shady, was to cover her back. You know, she wants to get out of this alive, and like she
Yeah,
said,
for sure.
it's better to like hang together than to hang alone.
100%. And Molly definitely like again, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Case and Molly were two very self-serving people at the start of the book, and that's kind of why they teamed up, because Molly knew that she could keep kind of a handle on Case. She knew that she could use Case to get more information. She watches his back, he watches her,
They
and they
need
kind
each
of
other.
like team up against Armitage, who she trusted significantly less than anyone else.
Mm-mm.
And so they were never really kind of like, you could say they were like friends in the way that you can call a coworker a friend. You know?
Yeah.
An acquaintance that you really wouldn't want anything bad to happen to them, but you don't know if you'd invite them over for like a barbecue at your house on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And so it makes for a very interesting dynamic between the two. But there's still, you know, like there is still a care between the two. There's still an affection between the two, albeit one that was not meant to be. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm scrolling down my list of characters. Yeah?
Are we missing anything? I feel like I've gotten most of what I have to say out.
I'm scrolling now down the list of like, you know, key characters that I made. Ooh, since we're talking about, this is something that we didn't talk about, and this will be like a brief one.
Yeah.
Do you remember Molly's ex-boyfriend? They mentioned him briefly in the book.
They were a cowboy too, right?
They were they were not a council cowboy.
I think
so.
I just remember Hideo.
Johnny,
Hideo
right? Killed him for sure.
Like or add Hideo.
Hideo or our current Hideo definitely offed him. But what Johnny used to work as, he worked as a quote-unquote stash, which meant he stored sensitive data inside of his brain for high-powered and often criminal employers. Which, right off the bat, I'm thinking, this man is playing with
fire.
Lava! That is the most dangerous thing. Like, I can't even imagine.
But also the safest place for your person, right? Dangerous and safe. Like, who would put it in their brain? But once you know where it is.
But at the same time, it's like, you put it in his brain, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, can't someone just kill the guy and, like, rip it out of his brain? Like, turning off a computer? Like, how does that work? But,
yeah, if they know, you know.
If they know what they're,
it works.
That's true. They need
for
to know.
Concealment. Like, where's this information? Like, we check all his accounts, all his whatever data
And
banks.
it's just fucking in Johnny.
Who would have thought, you know, like, it's probably in his brain. Like, who would think that?
No, it's honestly, well, I mean, it makes sense because it's like, where's the safest place to put your, like, Gmail password? Stick it in your brain. Don't write it down. That's dumb. Don't put it in any way that it can be accessed by anyone else. Stick it in your brain. And so
I write it down.
That's what he worked at, which
my brain unreliable.
My brain is definitely not the place you want to be storing your, like, encrypted passwords, guys. The shit, bad. No bueno, my dude. But, you know, like all, Molly definitely has a type, because just like Case tried to sell off information from his, just like Case, I want to call it self-serving assholes. Just like Case sold off his ex-employer's only to get, you know, neuro fried and unable to access the Matrix. Johnny blackmailed his employers with traces of data they left in his brain, and they sent people to kill Johnny, and that's how Johnny fucking died. And it's like, damn, the self-destructive energy right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Molly likes them balls big.
Molly definitely likes a man that she looks at and she goes, I can fix him. I won't, but I could. She likes him just a little fucked up.
That's the brain damage that I'm into.
She's into the brain damage. Real. Let's see, what else we got? We talked a lot about the Tessier Ashton family and that heist, how they like they're like multi-level heists where it's like you've got where you got Case kind of hacking into the ice with like his viruses, and you've got Molly physically breaking into this building, which is again a really cool parallel for how it's like that battle between
the first heist was so cool.
The first heist was really interesting. The first heist was really hard for me to like follow though. The first heist, that's actually what I was kind of like trending towards. What I was like wiggling us towards, that first hack into SenseNet Corp to steal Dixie Flatline.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating how, again, you know, we have this like, oh, the flesh versus cyberspace, reality versus irreality. And then in all of their heists, the only reason that they succeed is because we obviously have both Case in the chair hacking the ice and making things go, and Molly physically in the building kicking ass and taking names and stealing the actual thing.
Can I just say?
And so I
really like how they planned this out. Like, the press report was like we're releasing a gas that makes people like go insane and attack each other, but in reality,
Yeah.
it's just anxiety-inducing gas.
Yeah, I thought it was
So I
fascinating
was like,
how they kind of like made this heist.
so at the same time, like authorities like see these people like, oh fuck, are they gonna shoot on sight? Because they think it's just people who are like gone rabid. But at the same time, since they're like so anxious and panicky, it
Yeah, it's
looks like that. It's like, damn.
exactly. It's a vicious cycle, and they like, cause for the first heist they like hired out a group of mercenaries to kind of help them out. Some like techno terrorists or something. I don't
Yeah.
really remember
Hi, Ducky.
what their name was. Oh, hi, Ducky. Enjoy the show. We're talking about Neuromancer. And so like
Oh my gosh.
the
Wait a minute. Sorry.
yeah.
Ducky, you're like into like
Go for it.
cyber stuff, right? Do you know Neuromancer and Ghost in the Shell? I don't know. Because you're like a cyber duck
What are your
secretary,
thoughts
right?
on cyberpunk?
Hmm. But yeah, well, wait. Go ahead. Sorry. the thought,
No,
the
Ducky
thought
just
just
said in
came
my
up to
chat.
me.
Ducky just said in my chat, I can't get over the books with the background still in it. Thank you. My fake PNG of books is also my favorite part of my background. It's so like scuffed, but
Bro.
I hold deep affection for it.
Now that I think about it, I should like commission like an artist to put like a shelf
Yeah.
of like the various knickknacks from the books we discussed, like the electric
Oh
sheep.
my god.
You know.
If you do that, I would pay half of that. And we should leave the shelf open with
Yeah,
space
yeah,
so we
yeah.
can add more from other ones.
Yes.
We should talk this more. We should talk this more. To your point, Ducky, cyberpunk the game or as a thing? As a thing, because right now we're
Genre.
discussing the as a genre of the aughts.
Have you seen the anime? Have you seen Ghost in
Have
the
you seen the
Shell?
anime?
Have
That's
you
so
read the
good.
books Neuromancer
Give us
and
your-
dude,
Have you ever heard of the book in the first place?
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
That one too.
I feel
Does
like
the
this.
name Ursula K. Le Guin mean anything to you?
I feel like our like adventure to this like cyberpunk territory has been so enlightening. I love that we did this.
Dude, I'm so glad we did this because it really feels like I feel like I've actually learned about
Yeah,
cyberpunk
I
and
feel
like
like-
the history of sci-fi during these two book
Definitely.
clubs. So I'm like loving it.
Before we started this whole thing, I think like cyberpunk as a genre is so cool. But now that we're like actually into it, like the origins and what makes it cyberpunk,
Yeah.
I feel like having more knowledge,
Mhm.
it just feels
Makes it more
good.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it more fun because it's like what we just did a minute ago. We can actually sit down and analyze a piece of media and be like, is this cyberpunk or is this not cyberpunk? Oh,
Yeah.
it's not cyberpunk because of this, and we
Yeah.
have like the words for it. It feels nice. It feels nice. Ducky says she enjoys cyberpunks. It's got some good and interesting aspects as a genre.
Mm-mm.
We agree,
I think-
babe. It's so
I think
good.
Mels and I agree that you should like get into the genre, like read the books and the shows.
You should
we saw.
totally read this book.
And,
You should read.
And like
this
who
book.
knows, it might upgrade your like cyberpunk aesthetics too. And
Oh my god.
once you do that and you want to talk about it, we're here.
Dude, I can't wait for Ducky to like have a
Cyberpunk
have a-
era, like the enlightening.
Dude, Ducky's gonna jack into the Matrix. She's gonna stim herself into reality. Be like, "What's up, gamers? I'm here. I'm riding." It'd be so cool. Squeaky Ducky is a console cowboy. Discuss.
It'd be so funny, like
Oh.
if like the jack into the Matrix and she like fucking dies and gets roasted. She's just like a pecking duck. Pecking duck. That would be such a funny visual.
New emote for the chat. My phone tried to put genre as gender. Lol. Oof. Sorry, I'm playing games. Enjoy your games. Have fun. We are the point of this stream is to be the ultimate podcast and get people to read books with us. So please enjoy. But now that we said console cowboy, before I lose the thread, I found it really interesting how they call these like super hackers console cowboys or like jockeys. And if you think about cowboys in like American culture, cowboys are like these explorers of the unknown. There's like these lone rangers on their horses,
Like trailblazers.
exploring, trailblazers. They go where no man's gone before, totally independent, in tune with nature. And it has so many kind of like similar moments with like what a console cowboy is, but at the same time stupid ads, but at the same time so different from like what a console cowboy is, because cowboys are very like in tune with nature, so to speak. They live off the land with their herds of cattle, so they gotta know. They have to be in tune with the flesh in a sense. Whereas console
Console
cowboys are
cowboys.
exact opposite of that. But
I
they're
mean,
both
but
these
it's
like
opposite and similar.
opposite and similar, yes, because console cowboys
They're
still depend on the flesh to jack into the
they,
matrix.
they live off the land, but in that case, that the land is cyberspace.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Absolutely. And then we also have this kind of like, you know, cowboys, especially like this kind of like the renegade cowboy, the lone ranger cowboy who has his like own moral code, who does his own thing. That's very like akin to like how console cowboys will be like from the way the book describes console cowboys, they all tend to be kind of like solo guys. Sure, there'll be some who like team up to like train each other, but it's more like you hire a console cowboy, not a team of console cowboys to hack your thing. And it just, I felt like it was interesting that they decided to call them console cowboys. It just felt really cool. Maybe there's not too much depth to it, but I thought it was really neat. Yeah. And I like the idea of Case in a cowboy hat.
I'll believe that part. Cool. I'll believe if someone says like there's not much depth into it, you know? It just sounds cool.
Yeah, I believe that too. I tried to dig just now and I'm like, digging to them here. I just think it's neat.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little bit, but not that much. Not enough for a 30-minute discussion. What were we on before I got sidetracked?
We're going down the list of interesting characters, and we just finished on the brain guy.
Yeah, and we also talked about and we were talking about the SenseNet heist, which is where we were talking about. Yeah. And so that one was really cool because obviously we've got like, you know, Molly and Case hacking into the system, breaking into the system. They hired those like terrorist guys to create this diversion, this distraction for them, which is like you said, where they released a neurotoxin. I don't think it was a neurotoxin, but they released
it was advertised
something.
as a neurotoxin.
It was advertised as
actually, I think they're both neurotoxins, right? Anxiety producing gas. Is that a neurotoxin? I feel like it is. Because it's in your head.
Well, it's in your nerves. A neurotoxin.
Isn't nerves part of the nervous system?
No, because I don't know. I'm not smart enough in terms of medical procedures to know this. All I know is that they released this toxin into the air, right? And what this does, and what the toxin actually did was just make them anxious and susceptible to
panic.
Whatever. Panic. It like activates the panic. But when they released it, they made it even more effective because they scared them by saying, we have just released this toxin that is super deadly and it makes your bones grow like to an extreme degree. And so people are freaking the fuck out. And they also like released like flashing lights so that some of the employees at the SenseNet building were susceptible to. So some people were having epilepsy attacks. There's this weird gas being released into the building. There's like terrorists flashing on your screen, on like all the TVs in the building, and they're flashing like creepy imagery. They're like overloading the senses.
Can I just
of
point
these
out
people.
that in the radio drama, the voice acting stopped here when they were like
the voice acting
when
so
they were
good.
doing this part, like the girl at the PA announcement, like please evacuate right now, please. And then like at the middle, she just freaks out. I'm gonna die. I don't want to die. Like damn.
That was so good.
Yeah, that was so good. Like damn, she's getting paid.
Oh yeah. No, she made bank. She earned her keep. She earned her cash. It was so good. It was a good radio drama. I'm really glad I found it. I'm really glad I got to share it with you. Yeah. I was like,
thanks for sharing. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, I do think I agree with you when you said earlier that it's like, it's good. It's a great radio drama to listen, but like it's so much better if you've actually read the book. So that way you got context.
Yeah.
But yeah, the attack on the SenseNet building, so fun, so crazy, absolutely bananas. Just really a whirlwind, a great snapshot of what's to come within the book, really. Straight bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-N-S. Let's see, is there anything else that we want to like really hit on?
If there's anything I missed, I'm sorry, but I feel satisfied.
I think we covered a lot. I feel really satisfied. I feel like we hit a lot of like the really big like high points I feel like within the book.
I got the nerd out enough.
I'm satisfied.
Should
Yeah,
we
no, I think at this point,
wrap it up?
I'm good. I think we can wrap it up. And we
Yeah.
wrapped it up in record time.
I
This is
know.
a 2-hour discussion.
Like it's 2
Like, usually
hours,
we're like
but
5 hours later. But
yeah,
I think 2 hours and we've like,
I like
this
this
is good.
format. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like this format more. I think this was really good. I think this is a good vibe. Do we
Okay.
have an idea for what we want to do for our next book?
I
Or are
don't-
we going to discuss that offline?
We'll probably discuss that offline first.
All right. Well, be sure to post it on somewhere so you guys can know about it, people of the internet.
I'm planning on uploading this VOD to YouTube, so YouTube and other commenters, like if you have ideas and opposing thoughts or similar thoughts, or you know, if you wanna
What was your favorite scene in Neuromancer?
If
Tell
you
us
wanna-
why.
like bring up some discussions, be sure to comment down there.
Yeah, I'll probably check out the video
And yeah,
after you upload it, so I can like see if anyone's commented on it. Because I just like any opportunity to keep talking about the book.
Yeah.
I will. And like the blessing of comment sections is that you can look up the quotes and like just put them in and be
Yeah.
like, look at this fucking quote, it's so good. Which is so much harder in this like free flowing verbal format because I cannot quickly flip through my book and find all the quotes I want to talk about
right.
because there's so many good ones.
But yeah, if you like this content too, make sure to drop a like and you know make
Like, comment,
let us
and
know.
subscribe.
Let us know.
Let us know if you want these two nerds to keep nerding out about other nerdy books. What book do you want us to read next?
Let us know.
Comment below.
But yeah, my favorite scene Neuromancer. Let me like go through the book really
Yeah,
quick
let's
in my
take like
head.
a minute. I'm gonna crack open my book and see what I've like highlighted because I actually this is the first time I decided to like annotate a book, and so I just kind of like went through it and like highlighted certain sections that I during my studies thought were like, oh, this is definitely really important. This is really like fun. Blah 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 blah.
I feel like my favorite line is when Case meets Neuromancer and drops that line like, "Oh, to know a demon, you need to know its name."
Oh,
But
that
I
was
think
a good
I think my
line.
favorite
That's
like
really good.
scene though is like the SenseNet heist.
The SenseNet heist.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a
Pretty
good,
good.
it's their first heist and it really does a good job of like encapsulating what's at risk, what's happening, like what Molly is doing, what she's
Mhm,
feeling, how it all works, how the hacking plays into like the guy in the chair and the person on the field.
Yeah.
And, like it gives us like how the operations are gonna go moving forward. Yeah, that's mine.
I dig that. I dig that. Let me see. All right. So I'm trying to think because so I have two scenes here that I think are probably like if they're I don't quite know what my favorite is. I need to like really like meditate on it and I can't do it because now I feel like I'm on the spot and it makes me nervous. But I think one of
I'm
my
just asking you what you asked me.
I know I'm really bad at this game. All right. I think one of my favorite scenes is probably the first time that like Dixie Flatline and Case sort of like re-encounter where they like talk for the first time and Case is like, you're a ROM.
Yeah,
and then
Dixie was out of
like,
it
"Oh,
first. Like he
okay."
doesn't realize like like
No, he doesn't
he's
quite
waking
connect the
up.
dots
He's
at-
waking up.
Yeah, he's waking up. And then like one line that like for me, I just like this line mostly because it's like, damn, shit, all right. And Case tells Dixie, hey, you're gonna help me hack this thing. You up for it? And then Dixie's like, you're gonna tell me that I have a choice?
Yeah.
And it's like he doesn't because he's a
No.
ROM. And I'm like, fuck! Ah!
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really
I like
cool.
that line too.
And
It
then
was like you're asking me like
I
I have a
thought that was-
choice.
I thought that was really like, it felt really
It was a really
cool.
self-aware moment.
It was super meta because it's like, and it feels very like telling of Dixie Flatline's personality. He's like, I take no bullshit. It's like, you didn't tell me I have a choice. I'm stuck here as a ROM. I can't do shit. Of course I'm gonna help you, bro. Duh.
Meaning,
And so I think that's like, I do think that might be my favorite scene. I think another really good one is the moment where Case decides, yeah, I'm gonna go save Molly. That is cool. That is powerful.
yeah.
Rad as
When
hell.
he decided to save Molly, Malcolm pulls him out of the cyberspace multiple times because
Yeah.
he looks like he looks unwell because he's feeling
Yeah,
what
no.
Molly's
What,
feeling and
Molly's
Molly
feeling.
feels like shit and that's why Malcolm
Yeah.
pulls him out. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I'm
Malcolm's
pulling
like-
you out like manually because you don't look good, my dude. Like, no, put me
Malcolm's
back in.
like, are you gonna fucking fucking die again? You can't die. Dude, wake the dog up, samurai.
Mini says, I want to say that there was a game made based on this game, this book, as I feel as though I've seen it before. Probably, I feel like at this point there's a lot of iterations of Cyberpunk because it became really popular, right? So there's probably a
Like,
game based on this book.
It's
Probably
called
more than one.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's called Cyberpunk.
I never played the
So-
actual Cyberpunk game, so I don't know
I've never
how
played it either,
how
but I've
philosophical it
seen
is.
it tries to be philosophical.
Yeah.
It falls a little flat
I
a
feel
lot
like
of the
it's
times.
more of a genre thing than a philosophical
So-
cyberpunk thing.
Yeah, so let me drop some takes here. So the reason why, to whoever mentioned that comment, the reason why a lot of the things we're talking about feel really like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before, is because William Gibson's Neuromancer is essentially the book that established and cemented cyberpunk and
genre.
all of its archetypes and
Yeah.
tropes. It really cemented the genre. So this book, when it came out, all of these things were fresh, new.
It
No
wasn't-
one had ever seen these
It
before.
wasn't first, but yeah, it cemented the genre.
It wasn't explicitly first, but it was first in its combination of all these things, and it was first in cementing the genre.
The visuals
And
and
so
all.
with that, this is why we see later on and up until current year, all of these very like cyberpunk things over and over and over again in what we now know as cyberpunk genre, because Neuromancer did it first and people liked it and people were like, oh, I want to use that vibe, and they did, because that's the nature of creation. And so that's why we see things nowadays so commonly like the Matrix, cyberspace, jacking in, interfacing with technology. My nails are actually massive knives. Oh, I can shoot a gun out of my hand. That's cyberpunk, and it all originated with this guy, William Gibson. And yeah,
Mini,
it's really cool.
Mini
And
says no, like an old game, not
Yeah.
cyberpunk games. Yeah, like I remember when
same thing.
when we were doing the Android stream for Electric Sheep, we raided
Oh, when we raided Soul.
Bad Greg, right? And he showed us like
Yeah.
this really old cyberpunk game. I think
Yeah,
it's Blade
yeah,
Runner
yeah.
too. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a Blade Runner game that came out way back in the day.
It was
and there was
really
a lot of
old.
other Yeah, no, it's super old.
It was crispy.
Crunchy. But yeah, it may not have been so even if it was an old game, if it came after Neuromancer and it has things that are
It's
similar
probably
to
inspired
Neuromancer,
by it.
it was probably inspired by Neuromancer. It was probably one of the first cyberpunk games of its time. And Cyberpunk 2077 was not the first cyberpunk game, not by a long shot. Nor was there was another, I think there was a tabletop RPG that came out that was also like cyberpunky, and it was inspired by Neuromancer, but the name gone, absolutely gone in my brain right now. But cyberpunk, it started with Neuromancer. It's gone on to inspire countless series, movies, television shows, books, comics, novels, games, music, the works. You've seen this book before, at least part of it. For sure. But yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff. I feel satisfied.
Me too.
I had fun. This was a lot of fun.
Let's
I'm
wrap.
really happy.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. We already did our initial wrap a while ago.
Yeah.
We just kind of side back in.
But
Do you have anyone you want to raid?
thank you again for everyone. Thank you to Mels
Thank
for
you
hanging out with
for,
us. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and being a massive
Big
nerd
nerd
with
with
me.
a-
This was so much fun. It's always such a delight.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. For anyone to raid,
Box of Feels is live if you want to raid them. I know we raided them once a while ago, like
Yeah.
a long time ago.
they're playing Omori for the
And-
first time, I think.
Oh, I've never played Omori. I want to at some point though. And
you
there's,
should.
Norimika-chan, right?
Yeah. They're playing Mahjong right now.
Yeah, I was like, I saw Mahjong and I was like, oh, Zol might wanna raid the Mahjong players.
Up to you. Do you have anyone?
Uh,
Like, cause I have Boxo and Norimi on my list. Is anyone on your list too?
No, actually, everyone that I know is offline tonight. It's quiet
Mm.
night in the interwebs. So Box of Feels or Norimika would be good. I would
We
say
can
let's
also go
raid
for
Norimika.
with someone new too if you want.
Oh. Let's see, who would we raid? Would we crack open the just chatting and see? What if we raid someone who's playing Cyberpunk?
I want. I think someone playing Cyberpunk doesn't mean they read Cyberpunk. You know.
I know. That's what like I feel. That's why I was like scrolling down this, and I was like, oh my god, it's a bunch of gamer bros. I don't know if they know how to read. They probably do. I'm trolling, but nah.
I sent you a link on Discord.
I am opening my Discord and perceiving it now. Gee. Oh, I know this person. I've seen a couple of their streams before. Yeah. Soul is a fan.
Me?
Yeah, let's raid them. Yeah, I think
Soul.
Soul, like the guy we raided last time
Bad
for
Greg.
androids.
Okay.
Yeah, Soul Bad Greg.
Okay.
Yeah, let's raid her.
Okay. We were raiding Agent Midori,
Let's go raid Agent Midori.
who is an alien VTuber.
Very kawaii desu ne. I love her hair.
I like her color combination.
Green and purple is truly iconic. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.